for the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar and his Labour Party counterpart Peter Obi to prove after the verdict of the Supreme Court on the 2023 election. He, however, said the probability of President Bola Tinubu working with them depends on the attitude of the opposition leaders. According to him, Tinubu may decide to form a government of national unity and work with everyone if the opposition members extends a hand of friendship. Manafa made this submission while speaking with State House correspondents after a visit to President Tinubu. The lawmaker urged Atiku, Obi and others to join hands with Tinubu to move Nigeria forward and build the country. Marafa added that having exhausted all constitutional options available in challenging the outcome of the 2023 presidential elections, it is expected that the opposition members would join hands with Tinubu in building the country. Hello then, welcome to the Political Spotlight, right here in Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Mwachuku. We'll take a very short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Remember I told you that let's take a short break and be right back. Well, I'm not alone in the studio. I actually have a legal practitioner, a public affairs commentator, also a social affairs analyst, a barrister Joe Nwaokobia. Barrister Joe Nwaokobia, good evening and welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Yeah, good evening, viewers and our listeners. I greet all of you.
Thank you. Thank you for actually taking your time to be part of the program this evening. Also joining me virtually is Alistair Wilcox. He is a public affairs commentator, a political and social affairs analyst as well. I want to say welcome to you, Mr. Alistair Wilcox. He's a legal practitioner. Okay.
He's my friend. I don't know.
Okay.
Esther is always pairing me.
Okay. All right. Okay. But before we proceed though, apparently something happened, I think on Friday or on Saturday over the weekend, where we had retired Supreme Court Justice Mohammed Dattijo, who fought at the appointment of judges based on family and political affiliations. He said, every Nigerian should be worried about this level of corruption in our judiciary. Where will the common man get justice when our judiciary is booming in a lot of malpractices, including corruption? I want us to take a listen to him while we comment properly on the program. Okay, so I do hope we can hear it like this. I think it should work.
The process of appointment of judges and the quality of judgments, of course. A couple of years ago, appointment to the bench was strictly on merit. Strictly on merit. Sound knowledge of the law, integrity, honor, and hard work distinguished those who were elevated. Lobbying was unheard of. Lobbying to accost justices into their chambers by people who seek to be elevated, that the judges should put in words for them, were unheard of. You will just be sitting, and if those who are given the responsibility of making the elevation find you worthy, you will just get a letter to that effect. You wouldn't have gone to anybody to ask for any favors or recognition. But that is not the case today, unfortunately. I never lobbied, not at any stage of my career, to secure any appointment or elevation. And I challenge anybody to contradict this statement of mine. As much as possible, the most qualified men and women were appointed. That can no longer be said about appointments to the bench these days. The judiciary must be uniquely above board. Appointments should not be polluted by political, selfish, and sectional interests. The place of merit, it must be urged, cannot be overemphasized. Recently, fresh allegations have been made that children and other relatives of serving and retired judges and justices are being appointed into judicial offices at the expense of more qualified candidates lacking in such privilege and backing. It is asserted that the process of appointment to judicial positions are deliberately conducted to give undue advantage to the children, spouses, and mistresses of serving and retired judges and managers of judicial offices. At the Court of Appeal, it is also asserted that presiding justices are now being appointed out of term. Out of term. When we were there, people to become presiding justices knew themselves and when they would become such officers. But now the perception is that now justices have been appointed out of time. And there is the further issue of the unpredictable nature of recent decisions of the courts as well. A number of respected senior members of the bar, inter alia, and I'm glad the president of the Bar Association has also alluded to such comments made by practitioners. The process of
and Mr. Alester Wilcox, I'm sure you heard what you heard retired Justice Mohammed Datijo said about the selection of judges, the appointment of justices. Do you agree with, I'm going to start with you, Alester Wilcox. Do you agree with what the retired Mohammed Datijo said? Do you agree with what he said?
The truth of the matter is, I am totally disappointed that Justice Dati.
You are disappointed?
Justice Dati spent totally.
Okay, why are you disappointed?
Yes, I was saying that. So it's like it's echoing back to me.
Oh,
I don't know understand why.
go ahead. Continue. Go ahead.
Yes. So what I'm saying in essence is Judge Dati spent 47 years in the bench, rising from the High Court through the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. He spent about 47 years, and it is when he was leaving that he's coming to tell people what they already know. We are not oblivious of the fact that the judicial system in the country is fraught with a lot and lot of irregularities, both in appointments and in the percentage of their duties. Remember when the daughter of Justice Mary Odili was appointed into the Court of Appeal, into the High Court? Mary Odili was a serving Supreme Court judge when the daughter was appointed. Now the story is, if people who are in power, does that preclude their children or their wards from being appointed? Of course, valid reasons. So Justice Dati is only telling us what we know. When you talk about corruption, it is this same during the Buhari administration that he was very hard on the issue of corruption in the judiciary. We saw the case of this justice in Abuja. I can't remember his name now. Then this woman, Justice Ijeoma of the Lagos of the Federal High Court Lagos, and so many other judges. Then the raid on the houses of Supreme Court judges, where large sums of money was found. So even when the executive was trying to sanitize the judiciary and the public rose against a lot of media houses, human rights activists, a lot of people who have issues with the government. They all rose up against the government. They call it victimization, intimidation. So we all knew, except that we have been playing to the gallery. We all knew that the judiciary is corrupt. We all know that there has been a lot of underground dealing, appointing their own brothers, children into the judiciary. I have a friend who has been clamoring to go to the bench for over 10 years. He has not been able. He attended all interviews. He have applied every year, attended interviews. Yet he cannot get, even if he comes tops in those interviews. So Justice Dati is only saying what we know, and which he superintended over for 47 years, and he didn't have the courage to speak it out. Is there a conspiracy of silence? When those Supreme Court judges were raided, I'm sure Justice Dati was one of those that rose to their defense. When the chief judge was caught in corruption and arraigned, I'm sure Justice Dati was in the Supreme Court. What was his position? I didn't know Justice Dati to be a radical judge. I've never had Justice Dati had a dissenting view or dissenting judgment in most of the judgments taken at the Supreme Court. So the man, I'm disappointed in him, because it is as he's living, it's like he has enjoyed the whole thing, and as he's living, he's angry, he's living, and he wants to spill the bean. That is not the hallmark of somebody with honor and value. So I'm disappointed. You already said what we know.
All right, Barrister John Woketi, do you agree with the line of thought of Lester Wilcox on this?
No.
All right.
To a large extent, he made mention of the fact that there are several, appointments, elevation, method of elevation, ascension in the bench, and other things that we have found to be wanting. I agree with him on that. Where I disagree with him is where he disagreed, or where he stated that he's totally disappointed with the views, very, very important views, and very, very helpful views canvassed by the recently retired Supreme Court Justice. Yes, he has been on the bench for past 47 years. He may not have the ample capacity and immunity to speak against a group that he's part of while he's still serving. I don't think that NJC rules allow him to do so. I don't think as a serving judge, he can only speak through his judgments. He may not come out openly to begin to criticize, the establishment that he's part of. But he may say so, as being there was a committee that he's part of. But unfortunately, like what he said in some of the statements, the CJN is like a tin god. He's head of NJC, he's head of maybe the body that responsible for appointing judges, and so many elevations, and so many other things. And he detects what actually happens. So his opinion there, even though he might have given one or not, which I cannot vividly say, I didn't research into all the things that actually transpired where he was a member of any committee. But his opinion wouldn't have mattered. But now he's saying it. I don't think it is a disappointment at all on his side. For us to build a very virile, a very progressive, and a very successful site, people that actually witness a certain occurrence in establishments should come out to tell us what they know about it. Just what Jega said about the election the other day. It has a greater weight because he was once INEC chairman. Just like what his lordship, that teacher just said. He has been part of the system. He witnessed, because in most cases, when outsiders say those things, we call it social media rants. Some call it maybe a view from your position. Some call it kind of coming from a background of those opposing the government. Some may see it as something coming from a certain section of the country, whereas some may see it as something coming from a certain section of maybe religious group. But now that someone who has been in the system for past 47 years came out to tell us, look at how it was when I was appointed a judge. Even at a certain level, we as lawyers, there are judges who say in court, who have the view that that judge will be elevated to the appeal court. We'll start looking at that judge. This judge may soon leave high court because of the level of competence, soundness of their judgments. Because most of the times when you appeal against their judgments, you can never have that judgment reversed on the appeal court. If they deliver like 20 judgments, appeal court can never overturn any of them. They overturn like 2. But there are judges that if they deliver 20 judgments, appeal court will overturn like 15, 16.
All right, Barrister Joe.
So what the learned Honorable Justice has said, for me, is it might be what we have might be speculating. The coming from him is something that has given us a very big clue of what is going on there, and also enable us to work on that, to find solution to that very terrible occurrence at Temple of Justice.
All right, Barrister Joe. In the whole of your explanation, I really couldn't deduce where your leaning was, because from what the Justice Dadito said, he said that when it comes to judicial appointments, it now seems more like from a personal point of view.
Of course, now.
Then secondly, he's also I don't want to use the word whether it's an allegation or it's an affirmation, because he's already at the Supreme Court. He said, for example, he referred to the just concluded Supreme Court judgment on the February 25 election, the February 25 elections that was concluded. And he talked about the fact that we had judges that were put together possibly in maybe a day or two, which he said is abnormal. That's one. Secondly, he talked about the fact that usually judges were appointed based on merit. Merit means the number of years you've spent. There's a process, there's a protocol.
But now, of how good you are.
But now he says that judges are no longer appointed in terms of merit.
Yes.
But they're more appointed now in terms of I know you, or in terms in a political vice. And so right now it's almost like the judges are in pari passu with the executive. That's basically what he's alleging. But when he made that reference, a lot of Nigerians did not all go well with him. They said he is part of the system. He also, corroborated with that particular system. So why is he now saying?
Was there anybody appointed from his family or from his lineage, of as his friends or his cousin?
They said, for example, if you had gone through comments, let's just say people reacted because this video went viral, and they said something. They said, why are you just saying this now? Why had you not made reference to this while you were still active, while you were still a judge, while you were still serving? Why now? Why basically now? Why are you trying to recuse yourself from the imbroglio that you have talked about?
He was not part of it. Let's just be very, very clear.
Okay.
That he was part of the system does not mean that he was part of the rot. Okay. It's not everybody in government that is like a thief, even though they are serving. It's not everybody in a parastatal where they will have corruption. That's also corrupt. The system may not allow that person to speak out. They may have internal policies that you may not say such a thing. Why under the employment of that organization? You will not say it. But you may not be part of whatever they're doing there. But the system may not allow you to raise such issue. Why still serving? Just like a military person. You can't raise contrary view against a general. When you are still in the army, they'll kill you. But they not say do that. If you're meant to retire as a military man, you can say what you've seen during your service in the army that you don't like. The rules guiding operations and other things are no longer applicable to you at that moment. So I believe that was what the Honorable Justice did.
All right.
If he's actually has been actually involved in all those decay, people have come up to say, don't you know so and so and so that it's not your son, so and so Ahmed, okay. It's not your cousin, so and so Mohammed, it's not your in-law. But for the fact that nobody can come out to say this is exactly what this man has done to make him to be part of this fraud, he has the right to say whatever he has. And what he said is not like Walcott, I think Alex Walcott, right? That's
Alistair Walcott.
Like what he has said. We knew all these things, but sometimes they may not be authenticated because
or no evidence
from side
to
talk,
prove.
Side talk and whatever. When Mary Odele's daughter was appointed, we all knew about that. Whether she's qualified or not, I don't know. I think the younger one was a class below me in the university in Judea. She's also read law. And I think she's practicing. Whether she's qualified or not, I don't know. That's what we have to look at too. Because if somebody is like a daughter or a son of a serving judge, if he's eminently qualified, for the fact that he's from his father or mother is like a judge or whatever, does not mean he can no longer be appointed to the bench. Except if there is express law that says that once you're a serving judge, your children cannot be appointed, even if they are qualified or not. Because what you are saying, you can remember, these guys are lawyers too. They are lawyers and they have minimum qualification of 10 years to be appointed to the bench, like High Court, Federal High Court, State High Court. If we have further laws that said if your father is already a serving,
I'm coming to you, Alistair Wilcox. I'm waiting for him to land.
Judge or whatever, you cannot be appointed. Okay. That will basically make it illegal for them to be appointed.
Thank you.
Where we don't have such laws, if they are qualified and they have proved themselves to be what they can be appointed.
Thank you very much.
But the only challenge you have, let me just land, is that it's becoming of common practice that they're now loading the bench, even with all the people from their families. Even when we have, like I said before, we are called lawyers. Well, there are judges who see in the court who believe that these judges are qualified to be elevated. Like that's what that you just said. You will not see them in elevated. Had I been hearing names, you will not even know where they come from.
All right, Alistair Wilcox. I wanted to ask you a question. I wanted him to get to his destination.
Please, can I do a bit of reaction here?
All right, react then.
I think my brother is blowing both hot and cool at the same time. He disagrees with me because he wants to disagree with me. I know he wants to disagree with everything, but yet he danced around what I said.
No, it's only your disappointment. Total disappointment is where I disagree with. No, it's total disappointment you said.
He danced around what I said.
All right, go ahead, Alistair Wilcox. Please continue.
What I said is the fact that Justice Dati was there for 47 years, rose to the Supreme Court. I do not know Justice Dati to have given any contrary position on any issue that Supreme Court has taken because I don't know, he has served over 10 years in the Supreme Court. He is the second in command. He is the second highest ranking judge in the Supreme Court. So he must have served well over 10 years. So he was in that. I'm sure he was in the appeal of 2019 between Atiku and Buhari.
Was part of the board that was the judges that were inaugurated. You know, there's inaugurate judges. Not that if you are serving at the Supreme Court does not mean you must be part of.
I am still talking now. I'm still talking now. I allow you to talk, sir.
No, I'm just like an observation. You can go on.
What I'm saying in essence is this. I do not know Justice Dati to be a radical judge that has given contrary opinions on most of the issues. I didn't know Justice Dati to have spoken out when his colleagues' houses. I'm not saying it's corrupt. Don't get me wrong. I didn't know Judge Egwuatu had spoken, and when his colleagues their houses were raided, and the entire public rose against the government. The entire public rose against the government. Oh, they are trying to intimidate judges. Meanwhile, the government was out to correct the rot in the judiciary. And because it was oh, come on now. And because it was the government that most a section of the whole of the population hates, and they don't think anything will come out, they all stood against the government. So Justice Dati was there. If you cannot speak out, then you resign from the system. If the system is choking you, you resign, or you give your own. Nobody will stop you from giving a contrary opinion on any matter you've handled. If your colleagues collected bribes and you did not, and you concur to their own judgment, then what kind of judge are you? Did you give even if it's a minority opinion, a minority judgment, did you give any? He served in the court of appeal. What are his decisions in the court of appeal? So I am not saying he's a corrupt man, but I think for him to wait and use the day of his validation, his validatory service, validatory sitting, to now start wanting to rock the house that he helped to build, that for me is out of the place. Look, that Justice Mado Dele's daughter was qualified or not is not the issue. That is saying that people appoint their families, their cronies, their friends, and in all fairness, the executive does not appoint judges. It's the judiciary that appoint judges. The executive only approve. It is the NJS that appoint judges. From interview to all interviews to recommendation, it's NJC. It's not in fact, it's not the executive. The executive only approve. So we know what state governors do. So that is saying what we know that he refused to do when he was there. So who will now come and do it? Is it me that will come and do from outside? He could have been a radical lawyer, a radical judge, give dissenting opinions on those matters he felt people took bribe or people were corrupt. And then, was he not part of the NJC that approved the list of judges? Was he not part of the NJC that recommend judges for promotion? He was part of it. So as far as I'm concerned, if you do not speak out, it's just like in a marriage. They say forever hold your peace. Because when you have the opportunity to make an impact, you didn't do that impact. You now leave the place, you now want to pull the house down. What kind of man are you?
In other words, you're saying,
respect to him, his age, and everything he stands for, I say that what kind of man are you? So, I respect his position, I respect his age, I respect his family, but he didn't act well in this circumstance.
So you're saying that while he was serving, he corroborated in the rot. He knew there was a rot in the system. He did not speak out. He did not make any move to stop it. And then now he has retired. Possibly he wants to retire and seem to present like he was in a clean slate. Is that literally what you're saying, Alistair Wilcox?
That's my position.
All right. Now, let's look at this. With what Justice Dati just expressed, I think that was 2 days ago, on Saturday, earlier on Saturday while he retired. Do you think with the composition of the Supreme Court justices that made the declaration that they declared on Thursday, that based on what Justice Dati expressed publicly, that it may have affected the ruling on Thursday, October 26th?
Well, look, let me say this. Judges, Dati has been in the Supreme Court. Dati has been in the Supreme Court.
Okay.
And a decision was given in 2019 as an election petition that dismissed the petition. Several petitions has been dismissed, even when the full complement of the court. So there will not have, because judges don't act. Judges are insulated from ethnicity, religion, sentiments, and all that. They are insulated, except the judge that does not know his source. Judges are supposed to treat issues purely based on the facts and evidences before them and what is canvassed. So judges are not expected, or do not. I refuse to toe that line, or do not give decisions based on tribal consideration or on ethnic consideration or religion. No, that is not a sound judge. A judge is supposed to be impartial, unbiased, and look at the facts. Look, the Supreme Court of Nigeria is overworked. That's just the truth. And presently, there's supposed to be, I think, there's supposed to be 15 or 21. I can't remember. Your friend that will correct me. There's supposed to be about 15 or 21.
21.
And now, they are 10.
And 10.
Who appoints? Is it not the government? Is it not the agency that recommends for the government to appoint? Number one, these vacancies existed as far back as 2 years ago. That's when these vacancies existed. And more people keep retiring. And in the Supreme Court, there must be five members to sit on a general matter and must be 7 on a constitutional matter. So right now, to even form a panel of the Supreme Court will be difficult. That means a lot of judges will be overworked. So it is better for them to clean up their houses and appoint more judges that will fill up those positions.
So are you saying now, Alaska, are you saying now,
the Court of Appeals has limited judges?
Are you saying now, with what you just explained, that it may have affected the ruling on October 26?
It will never have affected any ruling. It is not based on tribe. It is not a tribe. Look, the decisions of court is not a tribal thing or an ethnic thing or a sentiment thing.
So you're saying that from your expression now, from what you're stating now, you don't think that the judges were paid off, induced financially, egged on by the executive for whatever reason? We need to make these clarifications out here.
No, hold on. Who paid them who paid them in 2019? Justice Mary Odile was on that panel that dismissed Atiku's petition in 2019. Who paid her? Buhari paid her. Justice, what is his name? The chief judge then was on that panel. That judge was on that panel that dismissed Atiku's petition against Buhari. Who paid him? So let us not say what we don't know. The judges, except we are saying, and unfortunately, this obedience movement has rubbished every other institution, including the judiciary.
Why are you particular with the obedient movement? Are they the only opposition political party?
That is the only one that's giving us all this ethic about iron judiciary, iron supreme. They're the ones that are threatening judges. They're the ones that are threatening judges.
It cuts across board.
No, it's not PDP. PDP does not do that.
How are you so certain? What survey did you carry on?
PDP has gone to court severally. They never threaten judges. They never caricature judges. They don't take judges' name to the church and start praying. It is the obedient movement. So they have created more problems to destroy the image, tarnish people's image. Look, Atiku lost in 1999. In 2019. He went home. Nobody abused any judge. Atiku lost in 2007. In 2007, Atiku lost. Buhari lost. They didn't abuse any judge. They went home. Nobody was doing iron judiciary. Nobody was taking their faces to court, to judge, to church, to go and pray. It is this new phenomenon of the obedient group that are bent on destroying everything.
Unless I want to believe that you have something against a particular political party supporters, because it cuts up. Okay, you do know that the PDP too also raised alarm. They made noises, not just on social media. 2 or 3 press conferences they did not threaten. What?
They did not threaten judges.
Okay.
Their supporters did not threaten judges.
What threat did the obedient movement actually do to the judges? I need us to be specific with this allegation.
We saw it in social media. Iron judiciary. Who created it?
Iron judiciary is from the obedience. Okay.
Yes. Aisha Yusuf and co. They all created it. They're all abusing judges. They are all calling their families. They are all condemning judges even before decisions are reached.
All right.
Come on. This has never happened before. PDP has been winning cases, losing cases. APC has been winning cases, losing. Even Labour Party. Labour Party didn't start from Obi. Mimiko won election under Labour Party. Mimiko was a product of Labour Party. So many senators in Ondo State were a product of Labour Party. So Labour Party has never been like this until the obedient movement now hijacked it and then turned the whole country upside down, and we will no longer have peace. Come on, I don't believe in the judges. I know that I have had issue. I was in court for 4 years on a simple matter, and I lost. Did I come to air and start abusing Justice Obaseke that tried my matter at the industrial court?
All right.
Come on.
Okay. So, Barrister Joe, what's your take? What's your take in response to what Alistair Wilcox said?
The is trying to heap blames on the obedience movement or having that digression. I was speaking well until that unnecessary digression came in. Whatever that happened during this election are all welcome developments.
Okay.
The evolution of obedience movement also spiced our democracy. In fact, for me, that is the best thing that ever happened to our democracy. It's broadened the views of people. It's created a higher level of awareness. It mobilized Nigerian young people. It took Nigerian democracy and the election to global, scene. And it also exposed a lot of things and also put the ruling party on their toes. And even the other opposition party, like PDP, like the level Atiku went in this election, challenging the outcome of the election. It was not what he did in 2019. But he was able to catch up with the fire of the obedience in the air and pursued his mandate vigorously. And, a political class, even though they might, survive it in a form of Pyrrhic victory, because whatever that happened at the Supreme Court is like a Pyrrhic victory. They know that, look, it's no longer business as usual. That people are quite conscious of what is going on in their country. And next election, they'll be very, very careful because the awareness has been created. So instead of people to begin to say something negative against the obedient, they should commend them. They should shower praises on them for creating a pattern that hitherto Nigerians were not known for, and for good. Previously during elections, just like people can do whatever they want to do and go home. But this time around, certain things are no longer within the consumption of a kind of orthodox system. It might be like a traditional pattern. So they did very, very well. For the judge that said what he said, I totally align with him.
With what he said?
The time he said it, and whether he said it before or not, for me, same material. The most important thing to extract for what he said is that he has said that we have a system that needs cleansing.
So for you, the time he expressed what he expressed is immaterial. You don't believe, according to Alistair Wilcox, that he ought to have made these expressions while he was still serving and possibly begin to implement the change?
Yes, second in command, he has no capacity. Like I said, he's serving within that place.
Okay,
like what my friend L.S. Wilcox said, it must be in the system before you make it. Tell me how we come up with amendments to have an electoral act. Were they brought up by people inside INEC while they were serving there? No. Were there people that brought it up? People spoke out. People raised concerns over illegalities and the riots going on in certain system. Public bought into the consciousness and it became a movement. People began to question what has been going on in that system. And then there is this push for a change to take effect in that place. And finally something will come up. Now, somebody that has served for 7 years, that was part of the system, that was second in command, is now telling us, look, we have a problem here, and it ought to be sanitized. We are waiting for NJC to put up a memo against what he has said. Have they done that? We are waiting for them to counter it.
He even made reference to NJC. He said, the NJC, you're actually here.
Yes.
So you can attest to what I am saying.
Can say such a thing, and it will have that kind of force of action and force of attention, that someone that is part of you, that if you drag it further, he will open up more. He will open up more. He may even start calling names. So he has done so. Okay, look at what he said about composition of that people that decided that matter at the Supreme Court, and why certain geopolitical zones, southeast and north central, that ought to have had their own representation. Like my friend said, you may not know how they appoint. Some are saying that are they appointing judges by ethnic, whatever. No, they appoint judges. They elevate. They don't even appoint Supreme Court justices. They don't appoint. They elevate them. They don't appoint them. It's High Court judges that you appoint. Supreme Court justices are like elevated from appeal courts. So they are like, you elevate them. They elevate justices, from appeal court of different places into Supreme Court. So why leaving all those vacant positions when you know that, okay, my friend is speaking for them that they are overburdened. You have overburdened, you have only 10. as against 21, and the CTN is there, what prevents you from elevating people to the to Supreme Court to show up that number so as to have speedy trial of cases?
Okay.
Some cases might be at Supreme Court for 30 years, for 20 years, for 15 years. Just on my point.
All right.
And you are there. How can you complain that you're overburdened when you have opportunity of elevating up to how many I said? So they are looking for how many people more? 11 justices.
All right.
To make it 21, and they allow that vacancy to be there. And now you selected from the available ones. Okay, like you look at the composition of Supreme Court at the moment. Southeast has no representation. No representation at all. North Central has only one. I think with this exit of that regional, North Central has nobody there. North Central, nobody. Southeast, nobody. South South, only one. Or one or two. Some one, some just two. And you are the Supreme Court Justice. Why can't you elevate people there so as to fill up the composition and have cases speedily dispensed with at the Supreme Court?
Okay.
And you kept quiet. You're not selected from the 10.
All right.
Where you have had a broader way of getting all these people in a way that it may not raise issues. I always tell people something. Look, you don't say that you are not corrupt. You don't say that you're not a thief. You don't say that you're not a bad person. If you put yourself in a position that make people to see you as bad, they'll see you as bad, and they'll go with that notion.
Okay.
When you present a position that make people to see you as corrupt because of the kind of demonstration you have made in a place, people will see you as being corrupt.
All right,
and so what he has done now is start putting him in a position to make him feel like, look, if I have appointed elevated justices from these other places, they may know what is going on. They might not want to be, sentimental.
All
they
right.
may feel like protecting.
We actually have other things to look into, Barrister Joe, please.
When you now,
all right, so Omoyele Sowore, a human rights activist from Nigeria, he has actually disputed the idea that Nigeria's political class is well organized. He claimed that it is a lie that has been spread by others. He claimed that in addition to giving contradictory information regarding their attendance at universities and credentials, President Tinubu omitted crucial areas from his INEC form, which includes those for primary and secondary education. Now, in a viral video which was released, he said that if they were well organized, they could have correctly been able to authenticate the CSU certificate that was presented to INEC. And so, in response to the documents Tinubu gave to INEC, he made the statement. According to him, we keep saying that the political class is well organized. They are not well organized at all. It is us who keep thinking they are well organized. And this is part of the myth that they use to defeat us a lot of the time. Ask yourself, if someone is well organized, how come he cannot properly fill out his INEC form for the presidency? Like to put the appropriate primary school, he puts nothing there. Secondary school, nothing. The university he attended is different from the certificate attached. Is that person organized? He said no. So according to Omoyele Sowore, he said our political system is not organized and that the institutions that are meant to supervise the authentication of these credentials presented by the political elite vying for any political office, it's quite unfortunate that no system or agency has been able to query INEC on their inability to do due diligence concerning how the selections were concluded. Alistair Wilcox, please, a few minutes. I want us to actually talk on a couple of things, please. In a few minutes, can you tell me your perspective on what Omoyele Sowore said? Unmute your mic, please.
I will not rub issue with Omoyele. He is known to be very controversial and aggressive for nothing. And maybe his days in detention and he's overbloating his civil rights credentials. So let me just not bother myself with it. Look, if anybody just your friend in the studio is a lawyer.
You said my friend.
In the case,
now my brother.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He's not your brother.
In the case of Masari.
Okay.
Masari at the Supreme Court. You see, sometimes, as I said, we don't read, we don't follow sequence.
Okay.
In the case of Masari at the Supreme Court, when he was a speaker of the House of Representatives, what year was that? 2003. What did the justice of the Supreme Court hold? And you don't even need a certificate. All you need to prove is you can read and write. The constitution says secondary school, but the Supreme Court has even said INEC is at liberty to even accept it so long as you demonstrate capacity to read and write.
Okay.
for public office. So where is they coming from? When you don't follow sequence, I'm not a lawyer, but I know so many things more than even the sons that are carrying frivolous cases to court just to cash out from their gullible claims. There are cases which this government was not part of, which even the Supreme Court was not part of. There are cases that have been decided long that has impact on what is happening today. As at the time PDP held sway in the seat of government, a lot of sympathizers were applauding the judgment of the Supreme Court. Remember the case of Wike versus Daku put aside, that the tribunal nullified the election based on the use of that machine, that authenticating machine. Court of Appeal upheld that nullification. Supreme Court Arowola was the current CJ was not the chief judge. Dele was in that court. What is their names now? Even those people, the late man, the late justice from the southeast was on that bench.
Right?
When they held that the only authentic result collation sheet is the form EC8. That was 2015. It was ruled by the then Supreme Court. That was what saved Governor Wike. See, what do you call him? The man from Delta, the man from Akwa Ibom. That was saved their seat. The Supreme Court ruling on collation of results. He said electronic collation is alien to the Constitution. It's only the form EC8, manual form EC8.
In 2022 now.
So when people do not follow trend, you now want to blame the situation on the current CGN because Tinubu is a Yoruba man, is a Yoruba man. These vacancies have existed long before Tinubu came to power. Long before this
thank you. Let's start.
Never blamed the current CGN alone. It was not blaming him alone. It was blaming the judiciary and the Supreme Court.
Okay, Barrister Joe, go ahead, please.
Let him not canvass that angle he's canvassing. Sometimes I respect him for knowing a little bit of legal issues on the fact that he has actually gone to court. But then he saw a court 25 hours court going lawyer. And finally, I don't feel so comfortable when he delves into the idea of saying he knows more than science and all that. Just like me saying I know more than a surveyor because I handle 1 or 2 land matters for registration at Surveyor General's office. And as I said, I know more than surveyors. So, but it's okay. He's entitled to his opinion by saying he knows more than science. But then that's a very, very, very wrong statement. That's a case he canvassed. You know what actually made Nigerians to question intensively what transpired in the last election was because of the amendment of the Electoral Act. There has been this gang up, which is a fraudulent gang up against Nigerians by the Supreme Court. I must say it because I told them that for Nigeria to be surveyed from the maggoty and rotten system we have found ourselves, in most cases you have to be very, very honest and very sincere and then very, very raw, not just trying to sound so diplomatic. Whenever we have issues that lower court and appeal court may want to align with the people, the owners of democracy, because I always tell people that people are the owners of democracy and not the courts. And not the INEC, and not government or the people by the plan for the people. So whatever you must decide must align with what people had actually wanted. Now, Supreme Court made that decision in 2019, coupled with when they said that Sava, when PDP came up with Sava, that made article to lose, that Sava is unknown to law. There was no act, there was no legislation that supported Sava, and they threw that case out.
Okay.
Now people pushed, and there was amendment of Electoral Act in 2022 by President Muhammad Buhari, and we all jubilated, thinking that this had actually, cured that menace legally, and then having that practice of an electronic or IRF or whatever backed up by an enabling act. Now, citing the case of 2019, when such Electoral Act has not been amended, has still been in force till death, is where I see a kind of fraudulent gang up. So whenever you come with issue of electronic voting, even after the amendment, Supreme Court will still go back and say that it's not known to our laws. Then what do we now succeed in achieving during Buhari's regime by that amendment? So people are now saying that, look, this is the seat. Whenever, even after amendment, you still relied on,
all right,
on the constitution.
Okay.
Why not amend the constitution?
All right.
Why would you now be telling us?
In respect of this, if you're listening to us right now, the number you can actually send your WhatsApp messages to is 0700 903 9039. 0700 903 9039. We're currently streaming live on YouTube. It's at VOP 90.3 on YouTube, VOP 90.3 FM. That's Voice of the People 90.3. I want to read out what Chris Nwaokobia, who is a political activist, a renowned lawyer, and also a Labour Party chieftain. He has faulted the decision taken by the Apex Court to ignore the moral grounds of the forgery allegations leveled against the president by an opposition candidate. And he made this statement via a Monitor television interview. He said that being a member of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council, he argued that the 7-man panel of Supreme Court justices had a duty to consider the moral aspect of the case that was filed before it and deliver judgment accordingly. Yes. He said, and I quote, "Should the Supreme Court have thrown away a fundamental and monumental evidence regarding the forgery case? The answer is no. For God's sake, you must draw moral margins if you want to make your country great." We're talking about the office of the president. The issue of forgery came and the justices of the Supreme Court threw it away like it didn't matter. Alistair Wilcox, if you're still here with me, can you kindly buttress, or rather explain further, just a few minutes, because we need to take phone calls and get reactions from people concerning the conversation that we're having, and we need to go for an ad break at 8:25, so we need to close on time. Will you kindly tell me precisely if you agree with what Nwaokobia is saying, what Chris Nwaokobia is saying concerning the fact that the Supreme Court threw away the case of the certificate forgery allegation?
My dear sister, on what grounds will I have to agree with my friend and my brother Chris Nwaokobia? On what grounds? You are now telling the judges, a man that I can't remember if Chris, as a lawyer, has gone to court to argue any case before. I can't remember. He's my good friend. I can't remember if Chris has a chamber and has gone to court to argue a case. And that is the person that I will now start. I'm not derogating him. He's my good brother. He's my good friend. That I will now start giving credence to his position on Supreme Court issue. Is morality justice? Is morality law?
No.
You took a case to court. You take a case to court. You file a case. In that filing, there is the pleading you are asking for. Is the court a Father Christmas? Did you plead that issue before the court? Is the court a Father Christmas?
Yes.
Will the court see in what? Please, with law what is that? The court of
law what? Court was a Father Christmas in that case.
Law what that the court is a Father Christmas.
Court was a Father Christmas in that case. Continue.
The judge is telling that they are not Father Christmas. You cannot go to the market. Please look, please, Oga.
Oh, you said the other court is a Father Christmas. I said yes. I said in Omenya versus Amechi, court was a Father Christmas because the awarded that Amechi did not ask.
All right.
So continue.
No. Amechi's pleading was totally in line with what they offered.
Go ahead.
He said he was the right. I have the judgment with me. He said he was the right candidate for the PDP in Rivers State. He was a candidate.
And should be declared winner for election did not contest.
He was substituted illegally.
And was declared winner for election did not contest now. Continue what you are saying.
The court restored him to the ticket that he had the ticket. So that's what the court did. So look, as a lawyer, sir, I respect you. I will not question your certificate or how many times you go to court. Just as me as an accountant.
You called Chris, but unfortunately I go to court. I have a chamber. I have 4 lawyers too and 2 support staff. At Allen Avenue, 70 Gallon Avenue. Yes, because he faulted the LSA. What could doesn't go to court? I have 3 matters even this week at Federal High Court.
We turn our cases upside down.
Okay.
For political and expediency.
All right.
It's not right.
All right. We need to take calls. I need you to. I need you to stay because we need to take calls and reactions, and you need to answer people's questions. Barrister Joe, in a few seconds, do you agree with Chris concerning the fact that the Supreme Court justice
to a large extent? Let me be very, very fair. Like what Alex said. He thought I'm just like always against him. Sometimes he makes some points. Like what he said, morality is different from law.
All right.
Do you understand my point? I totally agree. But then there is a slight exemption there. Law was extracted from morality. You can't completely separate law from morality. Most like the major law that we are like practicing now, which we call law of equity, that was propounded by Lord Denning. It was largely on morality.
All right.
But that's even why you have equitable remedy instead of some legal remedy. Equitable remedy is where you have morality as against strict adherence to law and technicalities.
Okay.
Like for instance, now initially in our practice, when somebody gives you this phone for like a loan of 1 million and you pay 999 naira within a certain day, if you're not able to pay the remaining 1 naira, he will confiscate this phone and confiscate your money because you didn't pay. But law of morality came in and said no. Once you're able to pay 700,000, you can no longer confiscate the phone without showing reasons. Because that person has paid more than at least 7 out of 100 out of 1 million. Morality came in. And that was how morality was built into law in so many aspects of law. That's why you say he that goes to equity must come with clean hands. That is morality.
All right.
And for a society to thrive, morality must read pari passu with legality. If you base every decision on strict legality or strict common law principles, that society will breed criminals, notorious bandits, criminal bandits, and fraudsters everywhere. It is when you move beyond that veil. Like for instance, I have a matter at somebody was telling me, Joe, it's a company. They don't need to go after the shareholders.
Right.
I said, but you forgot that morality has come in to lift the veil. Now, even when you're a corporation, they can still lift the veil and go beyond that company, limited liability company, and go and look for people behind that company, shareholders, and then directors.
Right.
That is where morality came in. But before morality came into law, once you are a company, limited liability company, if you like, you can get into fraud of 1 billion.
Okay.
If you are not caught as a company, everybody will go home.
All
But
right.
now people said no. People are behind these companies. That is morality. We have to lift the veil and go beyond who the system of the company into those that own this company and go and get names of directors and pursue them. So people will always say law is not morality. Law is not morality. I say, to what extent? Who told you that? What is fundamental right enforcement? What is human right? These things are areas that law considers morality. What is law of contracts? What is law of call it hire purchase? You see morality everywhere there.
Right.
So in a society that will excel, must read law pari passu with morality. When you have strict adherence to a law, you see technicalities and other things, and criminals will set free. And when you look at morality also 100%, you have to become so much attached to religious doctrine, Islamic doctrine.
All right, we need to take phone calls. 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. The WhatsApp number is 0700 903 9039 0700 903 9039, and the number to call is 0700 903 903 903. So I would implore you, when you come, let's try to make comments as logical as possible. All right, it's very important for us to do that. Hello.
Hello, hi, good afternoon. My name is Faulkner, calling from New York.
All right, okay, it's evening here. However, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening. I'm sorry. Good evening.
All right,
so just I would just like to respond to the two guests that you have currently.
Okay.
So I think the only thing we can look at, there's one quote that says that the most important in the days of your life is the day that you were born, and the days that you find out why. So based on all this judgment by the Supreme Court, and you're looking at what the justice is saying, truly it can say something, it can rescue himself from the old supreme system.
Who
But
can rescue himself?
Rescue
Rescue or recuse? Which one are you referring
Recuse.
to?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna recuse. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Recuse. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Recuse himself from the system, but he decided to stay over there. And you know, sometimes we talk about liberty, about freedom, about free speech and religion, and certain areas that we talk all the time. In the history of Nigeria and the system that we have in this country, most of officials, they do not respect the sign of resigning from a position because of reason why, or maybe they obtain something in there, or they are looking for something. So now you're coming at the end of your term, when you're about to clock 70, you decide to shed more light of what's going on. And I respect those barristers, the barristers that is talking, and the other guy, Mr. Alex. I just feel like it's just totally wrong for Mr. Alex to be accusing Labour Party.
Obedience. Obedience.
Yes, he's wrong. He's very wrong. The reason why he's wrong is that I'm not sure how many books he has read or country he has been to. The story of Jamaica. This is the word they mentioned about when country goes all the way. High crime rate, corruptions, and transparency. He does not understand it. The evolution of Labour Party or any other people that loves Nigeria, and they are standing up to something that they feel like it's wrong, it's a bad system. You cannot accuse or you cannot label people or because of they are standing for something. He is totally wrong. That's just my own opinion. He is very wrong. He needs to apologize.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for calling. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. Hello. Welcome to Political Spotlight. Good evening.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm Emeka is the one calling from Ejigo.
All right, Emeka, go ahead.
Good. I want to appreciate the topic this evening.
Okay.
But I want to register my disagreement with Alexa Wilcox.
Okay.
I want to say with all sense of respect and responsibility. He was among those who pampered Buhari, who would not allow us to talk to Buhari until Buhari ran the country aground. And now he came to this program. He left the issue being discussed and he started his analysis of obedience. And Showore. But Obi don't do this, Obi don't do that. I'm so surprised that you invite this kind of people who will come to talk this kind of thing on national radio, and we want to abuse them, they will stop us. Please, I want to say, in as much as I love VOP, let people who have Nigeria at heart come to discuss our issues. Not people who will come here to castigate people, to call people names.
You saw when I asked him. No, you saw when I asked him. I said, what is your verification? You remember I asked him, I said, what verification does he have?
This country aground. He's not coming up to tell us this thing. Nigerians are not happy.
All right, thank you. Thank you for expressing your grievances to that. I sincerely do apologize. Thank you. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. You can also send us a WhatsApp message on 0700 903 903. Alexa Wilcox. So the callers are calling and saying that you need to apologize for the kind of statements you made concerning the fact that you complained that the obedience specifically were the ones who threatened the judges, and they said you need to apologize because you made a generalized statement and you seem to be more biased in your point of view. So in a minute, can you say something to that?
I don't know who I'm apologizing to.
You're apologizing. The callers are calling and they're complaining.
I don't have the right. Let him take me to court. I don't have the right to my own opinion.
And remember, I asked you. I said, "How are you settled? It is the obedience." Yeah, exactly. Well, what is your survey?
I said those that are promoting it. I called names.
You said obedience. You said obedience specifically.
I said people like Aisha Yusuf. It's not an obedience.
Yusufu. But you generalized. Aisha Yusufu is an individual.
I said yes because it's on that platform.
Okay,
so who is obedient?
No, but you said you generalized. You generalized.
So who is obedient?
You generalized.
Who is obedient?
You can't say that one individual could have mentioned her name and not generalize.
Are you not speaking for obedience?
I'm not speaking for, but they're calling it. They're saying you generalized. You shouldn't have generalized.
Is there anybody called?
Can you apologize, please? Apologize.
So who now?
You made a generalized statement that they threatened the judiciary. You said you alleged that the judiciary were threatened by the obedience. You were so specific by calling a particular political party. You said obedience. You said obedience.
I have friends who are obedient. I have family members who are obedient.
You generalized. Alesta, you generalized. Simply just apologize.
It is not.
No, Alesta, it's not about that. It's not about that, Alesta. It is not about that. It is not being biased. You didn't mention they were not the only political parties that made statements during the elections.
Obedience is a political party. Obedience is a movement. My brothers are obedient. My brothers are obedient. My friends are obedient.
So you're alleging that only that political party support
brothers. My brothers are obedient. I have brothers and sisters who are obedient.
Are you understanding what we're saying right now? You are alleging that it is only that political
and your colleague in the studio have made it a personal thing against me.
It is nobody in the studio. These are callers. Callers are calling.
I will gladly avoid the program because if my views are not respected.
He has actually said.
Why is it not that you are? Why is it not that you are to the church?
All right,
who is obedient? Who is an obedient? My brother is obedient. My friends are obedient.
All right.
So what am I planning to?
Let's take more calls, Alesta. 0700.
Anyway, anybody who feel aggrieved, I'm sorry to the person. Anybody who feel aggrieved that he is part of those that are threatening judges, I am sorry. I'm very sorry
Alesta,
to the person.
Now you're being sarcastic. However, let's take more calls. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight here.
Yeah, I'm Nemeka the call from Ejigo.
Nemeka, how are you today?
I'm okay, my dear. Thank you for your good job.
All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Whether good or bad, I will greet you two guests.
Okay.
Because all of us are Nigerians.
Yes,
whether something themselves to be special Nigerians, one and all that, no problem.
Okay.
Please, I hope the man in the studio there is a lawyer, isn't he?
Yes, a legal practitioner, Barrister Joe.
I want to ask a question, please.
Okay, go ahead, please.
According to the judgment last time, that means shows that the forgery is now legal in our constitution or our law, isn't it? According to the judgment.
All right, he's asking that is forgery now legal in our laws.
This is why I put this question out.
They actually did not. They threw away that.
This is why I put this question indeed. This is why I put this question indeed. The constitution says that if you forge documents, you don't have anything to do in the office of the executive. But court say it's relevant. The only thing I want to tell everybody, both the man that is shouting, telling everybody go to court. He can pollute the whole court, but he can't pollute the court of conscience. To lead them to the court of conscience. That every time they put themselves in the middle to watch themselves, they see the image of themselves on it. God bless you.
Thank you. 0700 903 903 903. Please, in a very few seconds, because we will soon be wrapping up. Go ahead.
No, he was.
No, you said you wanted to react.
That aspect of the issue in court was actually thrown out for being filed out of time. It's not CSU. It's a judgment that actually proved that the certificate submitted by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, president, was kind of not the same with what was obtained from the school he attended. They said it was filed out of time.
All right.
And that's why 80 days they have to administer such.
All right.
So they didn't rule on it.
All right.
They avoided it.
Hello, welcome to the Political Spotlight. How are you?
Good evening.
Evening. Name and location, please.
My name is Tony. I'm calling from Abule Egba.
All right, Tony, please, you have a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, you see Alex Wilcox, is he?
Yes, Alesta Wilcox.
That man is always very, very argumentative, abusive, and I don't know who the kind of character he has. He don't have no moral justification to call in the radio stations and begin to abuse people. Who is he? Who does he think he is that he should be talked anyhow like that? For many stations, even Star FM and many other stations have listened to him. He's always very, very abusive. He's just like Festus Keyamo. They are of the same character. Such people should not be allowed to speak in the radio. Thank you. That's what I'm calling.
All right. Alistair Wilcox is a public affairs and social affairs analyst, and he has his perspective to political and national issues. But regarding whatever the mannerism with which he expresses himself, well, he has apologized. Hello, welcome to the Political Spotlight.
Hello, good evening, Esther.
Alistair, you were saying something. What did you say?
Yeah, I'm cut off from.
Hello?
I didn't hear you are getting. I didn't hear the caller.
No, he said that you're very rude in how you express yourself. Hello, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I really want to go to your
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Yes, he was talking of equitable remedies. I discovered that yes, the law and moral, the law comes from the actual, but it's practical.
Okay.
In practical, you can see in practical that remedies, equitable remedies cannot really have a way to play the rule of law played.
All right.
You know, what I really want to say is that people should understand that knowledge is power.
All right.
And money operates all things. You know, the way the Nigeria situation is going, we should be very careful and have the knowledge to understand the situation.
All right.
To keep the policy, to keep the knowledge, and the money that operates all things will also help us to build our standard. This is time for investment.
Okay.
And we are people obedient to be always calm.
All right.
Forget social analysts on radio. Be very calm. If somebody criticize you, you can discard the person.
All right.
Forget about it. This is time for their lead.
All right, thank you so much. Let's read some messages. Good evening, Esther Nwaokobia, our guest in the studio. The Supreme Court and its judges need to be purged of all manners of corruption and irregularities, else there can never be a fair and sound judgment in the judicial system. Emmanuel Chijoke from Ikotu. Thank you, Emmanuel. Good evening, Madam Host. My name is Nnaemeka from Ejiwo. Please, that man is a lawyer. I can see that all APC members are now lawyers turned the law. They now turn the law upside down, confuse themselves, think they are confusing us. All the judges that put justice for sale should bow down their head in shame. All right, you did not tell me your name. Thank you. You just proved the point. He will never apologize. He is definitely against the betterment of the country. Oh, you didn't tell me your name. Kindly put your name and where you're sending your messages from, please, on the WhatsApp. Beautiful evening, Mary. Okay, this is not Mary. This is Esther. That so-called lawyer. Which of the lawyers is so biased? Which of the lawyers? Only one lawyer that is here. Alistair Wilcox is an accountant and a social and political affairs analyst. Okay, right from onset, he is an APC supporter. This kind of barrister, okay, he's not a legal practitioner. All right, Esther, are you begging him? Who wants to listen to him in the first place? Imagine him saying he knows the law better than senior advocate of Nigerians. Imagine. All right, that's from Moses from Ijeoma. All right, Moses, thank you. Miss Auntie Esther, please, the online app has not been on for more than 2 weeks. Please help our data. Simisola from Isolo. Simisola, I sincerely do apologize for that. I do believe that they are actually working on the app, and possibly by tomorrow we should get a report as to what exactly is ongoing in there. All right, good evening, Auntie Esther. This your Al Hassan has nothing to tell Nigeria this way, because as I'm listening to him now, I feel like Mickey Day around me. No, please, there's no need for violence. We don't need violence now. Mr. Alistair Wilcox is benefiting seriously in the misgovernance of this country by those who are being to but one day him and his please, I don't understand what you're writing. I will implore you to write legibly so I can comprehend. All right, these are the few WhatsApp messages that we have. Let me take one or two more calls so that we can listen to a final takeoff from our guests and wrap up the program. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. Welcome to the Political Spotlight. What's your name, please?
My name is Mazuda.
All right, Mazuda.
Please, everything will be easy. We have to take it easy.
All right.
And we need to correct everything that's fallen.
Okay.
We need to correct it to move a better way of life. But I want to ask a question to Alexa. Please, Alexa, if you can be able to address this thing for me. I know you are not in any party, but the way APC is leading Nigeria for 8 years now, 8 years and Is it the way you designed your own personal life to be?
All right.
Please,
okay.
if you can address this, if they are going fine, they are going wrong, is it the way you design your own life personality to be?
All right,
I would like
thank
to know.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mazude. He's gonna respond to that right now. Mr. Lester, Mazude is asking you, he's saying that you should be sincere with the way the APC has been running the government all this while. Will you say is the right way to go? He wants to get your perspective on that.
Are you asking me that question?
Yes, that's what the caller asked. That I should ask you.
Esther, let me say this to all you and your callers. I'm totally disappointed at you as the presenter.
Okay.
That you will not caution your listeners in insulting the guests.
They did not insult you unless they express their opinions. And you heard me. You heard me talk.
You asked me to apologize because you are defending your guests. And before I came, I told you this. And I'm saying it to all of them. No, they know which. Is it in terms of they are threatening me? Most of them are threatening me.
They didn't make first. They basically expressed that you. If you were listening to the entire, were you listening to me? You did not listen to me, Alester.
He wish I was close to him, he would have beat my neck, Abi.
No, he did not say that. I'm reading messages on the WhatsApp platform, and you heard what I said afterwards. Alester. Hello. Okay. Barrister Joe Mokedi. I think there's a connection issue there. I'll call him back. Can you kindly give us a final take? We need to wrap up the program.
We are still in a work in progress, but for me, I was particularly happy with what the retired Justice of Supreme Court said.
Okay.
How he indicted his colleagues. It came from one of them. So as an insider, he has opened our eyes and has validated the speculations we have been having for a long time now. I believe they need to get into inward scrutiny of their face and put themselves of all the weighty allegations against them by one of their own. So we can move forward and have that judiciary of our dream, where the hope of common man, as we rightly know, will always prevail.
All right, let me take 2 or 3 more messages. Good evening, Esther, and to your 2 guests. Monday, Ifeanyi Chukwu is my name. What Mr. Alester is doing now, not allowing people to criticize President Tinubu. He did the same thing during former President Buhari's regime on Star FM. He never allowed people to criticize Buhari. All right, okay. So you heard Sometimes I wonder if this message is too long. There's no time. Okay, Esther, you should not allow your guests in the studio to intimidate you. Should ask questions without any bias from anybody. Olu from Badagry. Thank you so much, Olu, for that message. Good evening. This is AY from Mushi. I think the man on the phone doesn't need to generalize his allegations. Thank you. Okay, good evening, Esther. Please tell Mr. Wilcox that we have not recovered from Buhari's misgovernance. Let him not provoke Nigerians. We are already wounded. Emeka from Ejigbo. Thank you so much, Emeka. Good evening. You refuse to read my messages because I'm not. I read it. I read it out. Your message was the first message I read. I read your message. Okay, I read your message. I read it. That was the first message I read. Okay, this is definitely not democratic knowledge for Mr. Alex, who cannot distinguish between freedom of speech, opinion. He needs more education and needs to get enlightened. Thank you, Esther, and have a good evening. Faulkner from New York. Thank you, Faulkner. I'm trying to get across to Alester so he can give us a final take before we wrap up the program. Barrister Joe, for what is not, or for what it is worth, what do you think Nigerians should do now? How do you think we should proceed? Because, for example, I heard today that there is a tendency that petrol may be increased to 800 naira per litre. Okay, I think we have Alexa Wilcox now. Alexa, sorry, the connection went off. Yes, I need your final take before we wrap up the program. Hello.
Final take on what? Final take on which one?
On the conversation we had today.
Well, for whatever it is, anybody who is not pleased about my position,
okay,
you have your ample right. Anybody who is threatening me for whatever reason, you have your ample right. And if the station will bring somebody, will bring it.
Hello, Alester. All right. Okay. Okay. So Esther, your guest says he's so educated to the extent he cannot take correction. Hello, Alessa, are you still there? Hello? Hello?
I was speaking.
Okay,
I'm hearing you.
The connection.
I'm hearing you.
Go ahead, please.
I said, if it is rather sad and unfortunate that a station will bring a guest and allow their followers, their listeners insult that guest.
Nobody insulted you, Alesta. They literally said that. They said you generalized. Alesta, they did not threaten. They said they are wounded. They said you generalized. And I said, okay, fine. That's a good pot of call. You are supposed to. I remember I asked you that question. I said, what is your survey for you to generalize that they threaten the judges? You mentioned a particular political party, and there are several political party supporters, but you were specific about one political party. And I said, okay, fine. You mentioned Aisha Yusufu, so you could have mentioned Aisha Yusufu than generalizing. Not everybody was in a political party that made statements. Wait now, Alesta, these are your friends. These are the circle of people around you. You generalize. Secondly, they also said that anybody who speaks negatively. Wait, nobody threatened you. If you were listening to the program, Alexa, you see nobody threatened you. All the messages I read, they just kept saying that you are not allowing anybody say anything against the government. Alexa, they said you are literally against anybody who speaks against this government. You try to bamboozle them, or you try to make derogatory comments. They literally feel you're even bullying me at this point in time. But I want to say something, Alesta. When we make statements, let's try to verify or be factual with our statements. You generalize, and I ask you to please apologize. None of them made any comment to insult you in whatever form. So if you feel insulted, I sincerely do apologize. Thank God this
program is recorded.
Yes, it is.
And anybody can review it.
Yes.
Thank God it's recorded and anybody can review it. Look, it is not enough for anybody to want to hear one side of the situation. Exactly. I have no issue against. I have my family. I have obedience. I have people who support P2B in my family, in my circle of friends, in my office. I have friends who support P2B. So it's not, and Labour Party is not P2B.
All right, Alesta, we're wrapping up the program now. So I wanted you to give us your final take on the conversation we had today.
It must be P2B or Nigeria will run down. That person can leave Nigeria.
Alesta, you're getting it wrong. They said you generalized. You were specific on a political party. You were specific on a political party. However,
I do not know anybody in government. So anybody who says I'm benefiting, that is the person's responsibility.
All right, thank you, Alesta. That's your final take. Thank you so much. Barrister Joe Nwaokobia, I want to say thank you for actually taking your time to be on the program. Alesta Wilcox, I call you on this program because I love the fact that you have a different perspective to how we do political issues or the analysis. There is no form of bias. But please, when we make statements like this without proof, without facts, it's generalized. That's basically what I'm saying. You generalized. So that is why I said you needed to apologize. However, if you feel insulted in any way, I'm sincerely apologizing to you. Your opinion counts, your perception counts. That's why you're invited. However, thank you so much for coming on the program. You could say I called you when the Google Meet expired. I called you because I needed you to be part of the conversation. All right, have yourself a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation today. And Barrister Joe, thank you so much. My name is Esther Umachiku. I'll see you next time. You can actually follow us on social media at VOP 90.3 FM, at Esther Unwaz on Instagram, Esther Umachiku on Twitter. Have yourself a wonderful evening.
Yes, so would they bring on this information from Office of Papa and Mama Dada Ventures. Papa Dada and these Cameroonian women don't land the ban
for Jakonde Gate bus stop inside Glory Plaza, opposite Jendol Supermarket, Isolo Ejigbo Road, Lagos.
They are here to celebrate their 25 years anniversary where they don't stay for tribal medicine. Call them for phone immediately now. 080-3958-2191. Call them again. 080-3958-2191. Oya, madam, please talk to the people now.
I greet you, my people. Now we be the three Kajat Cameroon women. Where una sabi tete. We don't dey for this job reach 25 years. Second say we sabi the job well. Because of this, we don't comot money for our market them.